Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Alliance. Of course, I am your host, Clay, and with me, like almost every week, because we were not here last week,
Oh, I
is
had hand, foot, and mouth.
Katie.
There was no words. They like literally every other word I squeaked. Hello, everyone. By the way, because I just kind of started talking. Hello, like literally, I just squeaked every other word. It was not conducive for podcast experience.
Yeah.
Not something I wanted Clay to edit.
But it's all good now. We are here, and we're actually here with a very fun conversation piece. Of course, if you guys saw on the title here live on YouTube, or of course, clicking onto our podcast link, you will see this episode is titled "What If Star Wars Had a Suicide Squad?" And I know you're laughing because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Clay, isn't that just Rogue One?" Like, it's not.
No, not in
It's
this
not.
context.
Not in this context, exactly. So we do have one piece of news that is super quick. It is just a
Actually, there's two.
two pieces
So,
of news that
but
are
still quick.
super quick, and then we will get on to this conversation. We did have rules for this conversation as well. We will get to those as soon as we're done with the news pieces. So, Katie, what would you like to start off with?
All right. So the first bit of news is Daniel RPK swears up and down there's going to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2 and it's in the works. I figure this can go one of two ways. You literally have Obi-Wan Kenobi go on another mission, or you have Reva and Obi-Wan Kenobi makes a small appearance as like a mentor figure in this instance. Because literally, and I know I said this about Obi-Wan Kenobi season 1, but what the heck else could Obi-Wan do?
I have one more that was kind of circulating around the time that season one ended.
Mm-hmm.
Season two could surround the idea of Obi-Wan training with Qui-Gon to be one with the Force, um, into a
And we
Force ghost.
and we say that, but like, would that just encompass a bunch of flashbacks? Is he like comes to terms with his past?
Well, I think that it can have some fun, like, I think that, like, in a very fun way, depending on how the timeline lines up and everything else. We see Asajj, we see Omega, we see, like, you can throw things out there. Now, when I say, oh, this will be surrounding his idea of training, I think that'll be like a subplot to doing a mission. Like, I do think that Qui-Gon Jinn's training will be in the background. You'll hear Qui-Gon's voice, you'll see Qui-Gon's Force Ghost while Obi-Wan is doing these things. Whereas, like, when I say these things, I mean whatever mission he's going to be on.
Okay,
And
I see that.
I think that it is a good enough subplot because there isn't really any source material other than, of course, the Clone Wars with Yoda.
Yeah.
They
Then
didn't
you could
into,
dip into Legends.
and you could dip into Legends, but there wasn't like detail stuff
Yeah.
in regards to how you go about this practice of living forever. So,
Right.
so I think that could be very fun. I genuinely think that that can be somewhat of like it, and I'm very curious if they decide to go that route, how they would really play along with Qui-Gon being the Force Ghost and Obi-Wan now surviving.
Yeah.
What kind of like conversations would they have and everything else? Because even you go back to our review of the Obi-Wan Kenobi Legends novel.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was struggling. Like he was struggling with his
Yeah.
like not necessarily abandonment of the Republic and the Jedi Order, but for the fact that all of that was gone. And he come to terms with it to some point, but I think that it could lead up to really interesting conversations between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Especially when like you look at like Liam Neeson as the powerhouse that he is. Like what could you possibly do with that? Would you have like the Force Ghost himself there? Or would you do a lot of voiceover where it's just Qui-Gon speaking to him? So that way maybe you don't have to pay Liam Neeson like as much money.
And I think they could
Who
do
knows?
both, but I think just doing the voice would be a nice homage to the original trilogy.
Yeah,
So I think that would be fun also.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. RPK hasn't been super consistent recently with his Star Wars news, but he's had a lot of Star Wars scoops recently that have yet to come to fruition because they're projects in the future. So we'll see what happens. Um, the last bit of news that we have is related to the Lego series for Star Wars. Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, which
Oh,
season
that's right.
2 is called Pieces of the Past. And we have 2 bits for that. So the first thing is that Sig, our main character, will have the first orange lightsaber in Star
That's fun.
Wars. Yeah. Um, super simple, but like it's a lot of fun. I can't remember. It's the Stranger Things actor, who voices him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the boys kind of thing. He requested this, was like, I would love to have an orange lightsaber, and they made it happen. So cool for Lucasfilm. The second piece is also related to Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past. Dan Stevens, a pretty prominent guy, is going to be voicing the villain in the season 2. I'm calling it a season 2 of Rebuild the Galaxy, but they've also named it, so it's like a little weird. But he will be playing the villain Solitus, who wields dual purple lightsabers.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
They released a new poster with that announcement. Um, it's just Solitus himself, um, sitting on top of a pile of Legos with his lightsabers. So it'll be super interesting to see how this goes. This is due to come out September 19th. And all of the episodes will be releasing that day. So that's a Friday. So our review of that will be out the following week.
Dan Stevens
Yeah.
would be an excellent live action actor for Star
Right?
Wars.
And most people probably know him from Downton Abbey,
Yeah.
but like he left Downton Abbey because he wanted to go do other things. And looking at his record, I mean, he was a main character in Godzilla vs. Kong, the new Empire last year. He's gonna be replaying that role. I didn't realize this, but he was in Eurovision Song Contest, the
Yeah.
Story of Fire Saga.
It's
Like,
actually
what?
it's a really funny role that he plays. It's if you've never seen the movie, it's stupidly hilarious.
I
Dan,
hated it with a passion.
you oh
I hated it.
me and Abby just thought it was the funniest thing. I really don't like Will Ferrell. I just don't like his movies. But that movie was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing at that movie.
And maybe it's because I don't understand the concept. of Eurovision, but like Doctor Who did a Eurovision-esque
Well, yeah. So
episode, and it was like very similar. I
Eurovision
heard.
is actually like a real competition. It's like
Right.
a song performance competition. I didn't know that until after I saw the movie. But also Dan Stevens is the Beast in the live action Beauty and the Beast remake
Yep.
from Disney. So yeah, I just think that he would be an amazing actor for live action Star Wars for sure.
And especially doing Lego, like voicing in Lego, I'm sure if he was like, "Oh, I loved doing Star Wars stuff. Like I'd love to come back." Then like there's plenty of opportunities for him to come back as something else.
Yeah.
Um so even though and you guys can go back to our review of season 1 for this, but Clay and I had a lot of fun with Rebuild the Galaxy. It feels precisely how a Lego thing should be, while also still taking Star Wars very seriously. So I'm excited for Rebuild the Galaxy season 2.
Yeah, same here.
All right, but that is the end of the news, guys. So we would jump to our main topic. What if Star Wars had a Suicide Squad? And guys, Clay and I are talking about our teams today. But if you guys are like, hey, let's come up with a team ourselves, like go for it and feel free to send it to us. We've got the hotline below. It's 830-538-4828 to text or leave us a voicemail, or you can choose an email, starwarsalliance@gmail.com. Remember, there's no A in the Wars. It's very important. We'd love to hear what your teams could be. We specifically decided on the Mandoverse quote era for this.
Did we say Mandoverse era?
We said Mandoverse era because
Oh
remember this
no.
all came off of the Jude Law making other appearances in Star
God
Wars.
damn it. I forgot that rule. Okay, let me make some really quick changes. Well, because
So,
there was like two people that I was like, oh, like let's do this. I was like, oh wait, but I have a better idea, and I threw this in there. So let me make some changes here real quick.
all right. So while Clay does that, I'm gonna go over our rules for the team. So it had to be Mandoverse era, and the way I did this was I said, okay, if there's a possibility of them being alive canonically in this, then I picked them, and I liked them for the team aspect. I picked them. So I have 2 live action characters, 1 animation, and 2 book/comic people. I also have an honorable mention just because I think this character is alive in this era, but there's no confirmation. So I have an honorable mention. Obviously, Clay has not read as much as I have, so he may not have that knowledge to go, "Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick
Yeah,
this random
so
character."
well and guys, you need to remember Katie has literally read almost every single book in Star Wars. And when we say Mandoverse era, we're talking about the year-ish of when Mando
Yeah.
started to the point of, I would say, just before The Last Jedi. Um,
Yep.
is kind of what we're thinking here. So I do have to make some changes. A little. Well, okay. There's two that I may not have to, depending on some of your knowledge. So we'll,
Okay.
if I have to revert, I will. But
Alright. So I'm gonna start with my creator. So we had a creator, so the Amanda Waller of the team. Uh, Basically somebody involved in the government aspect of the New Republic. The next member of the team was a captain. So the Rick Flag in this instance, somebody that's on the good guy's side, but is out in the field with the team, managing the bombs, if you understand that reference. And then the next bit was we had 5 members of the team, and we just kind of picked a random number. This was not anything specific.
Yeah.
Because Matt was asking me, he was like, "Oh, so you don't have like the hardware person, the software person, the
Well, so
technology person?" I was
so
like, "What?"
so I will say this. I will say this. I gave them like quirky like taglines.
Okay.
So like again, this character I definitely have to replace because of the timeline. But I said the zero morality character, the morals of the group character, the droid of the group, the one that always survives, and I don't even belong here character are the 5 members.
Which is basically the members of the Suicide Squad when you
Yeah.
think about it. I didn't go that far. Um, Mainly because I just was like, okay, I went for middle ground morality characters.
Okay.
And I just kind of
Yeah.
left it at that. I thought about picking a droid, but I ended up not doing it because I was trying to diversify, and the droid I would have picked would have been 33 from Skeleton Crew, and I had Jod on
Ah,
here.
okay. Yeah,
So I
yeah,
was
yeah.
trying to diversify. Um, so yeah,
Makes sense.
I can go. Where do you want to start? Do you want to go creator first or straight into members?
Let's go exactly how we said it. We'll go creator, team captain, and then our members.
Cool.
So
So, I'll let you go first with your creator if you don't have to replace them.
I did already replace them because I had a runner up. Now,
Okay.
because I forgot about the Mandoverse thing, I will tell you who my first thought was.
Okay.
My first thought for uh who to be the creator was actually uh from the Thrawn trilogy,
Ooh.
a character who actually got on, like, he was a thorn in my side when I was reading this book. uh uh I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Bosk, or
Force failure.
yeah, yeah. He was gonna be my creator if we were just gonna just choose characters from Star Wars. He was gonna be my creator of the Suicide Squad. Now, my runner-up, I was like, who is a character who is somewhat hated that I could see having the morality to create a Suicide Squad in Star Wars? And I chose Hamato Ziono.
I did too.
You did?
That's my creator.
That's awesome.
I said, who is the, because I basically thought about Borsk at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, everybody calls Senator Ziono basically the Borsk failure of the canon universe.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, but can I come up with anyone better? But I limited myself to people who were government related.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
And I was like, okay, he's gotta be it. Like he's gotta be
It
it.
makes the most sense.
It
And so
does.
I'm so glad that we both chose him as the creator of the Suicide Squad in Star Wars. So depending on the timeline, my team captain. Well, you know what? I went first. You go first for your for team captain.
Okay, so I kind of went back and forth on this because comic book, this comic iteration of this character is definitely more middle ground.
Okay.
However, especially with the books in the sequel trilogy, I decided to make him captain, and the character I picked is Lando Calrissian. And I know I kind of talked about him when we were talking about this idea
Mhm.
originally. So I was like, is there anybody else? I did think about Ahsoka specifically because she's like aligned herself outside of the government. But if
Yeah.
Ziono like called Syndulla and was like, "Hey, I really need Ahsoka here. You owe me." Like I could see Ahsoka stepping in and going, "Okay, I'll manage these people."
Yeah. Yeah.
But Lando makes the most sense in the Rick Flag sort of way, especially in the Mandoverse timeline because we don't know what he's doing at this point.
Yeah.
So that is who I went with.
Okay. So my team captain, again, depending on how early his career was, I actually chose Poe Dameron. Is he technically in that timeline, or is it too early? It's
No.
too early, right?
Too early. Because so he is a baby in Empire Strikes Back. So
Okay.
because one of the characters that I picked is from his like freedom book, Poe Dameron Freefall.
Hmm.
When he leaves Yavin 4 to go work with the Spice Runners of Kajimi, uh, that is 18 to 19 ABY.
Okay. Okay.
So he's literally 16 years old in that book.
So my runner up, if not Poe, had to be, for me, I felt like another pilot. So I chose Hera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that. The other person that I thought about, honestly, was Poe Dameron's dad. Because he was a commando. And so he could have done kind of the same role. That was like the
Hmm.
other person I considered.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my honorable mention just because I've already kind of talked about her. Um, but my honorable mention was Ziva Bliss, who is Zori Bliss's mom from The Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
This character is the leader of the Spice Runners of Kajimi in Poe Dameron Freefall.
Okay. Okay.
However, I don't know how old she would be at the time point of this Suicide Squad if we're aiming like 11 ABY. Is kind of when this time frame would be. So I don't know where she would be at.
Yeah.
So that's why she's an honorable mention. Because the earliest mention of her is in Poe Dameron Freefall. So
Okay. So my uh my first team member, the zero morality character, Shin.
okay.
Shin Hati. Yeah.
I could totally see that. I almost put her in. Um but I left out the Ahsoka characters, like her as a character, because she's currently on Paradia or whatever the extra
Yeah.
galactic planet
The
is.
other, yeah, that makes
So
sense.
that's why I left her out. But that's a really good pick. Um my first member on the team is actually, I'm gonna go ahead and share him because I've already said it. It's John Norwood. I think as a force user, he's a fairly capable person. He's definitely shown that he can care in some instances. But he's clearly got no moral high ground at all. So that's why he's here. Because he belongs.
Yeah. Uh, what is your second character?
So my second character is Dr. Aphra. She is a comic book character who is currently going in her own run with Luke Skywalker. It's Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent. So we know she's alive after Return of the Jedi. Um, and that she is working with Luke Skywalker, so I think she's perfectly reasonable here. And she's also worked both sides of the coin, so very middle ground character. I
Hmm.
almost included Sana Starros, specifically because I do
Yeah.
also think she fits here,
Hmm.
but I don't think including Dr. Afra and Sana on the same team for like a Suicide Squad instance is a good idea. So
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. My second character that I labeled the morals of the group, Omega.
okay.
At this point in time, she would be older.
Yeah.
Um, but I think just the character that she is,
Mhm.
she would very much be the same type of character as in the oh shoot, what was the show called? Not Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
What's her name?
The Aqua Lady.
Yeah, the fish lady, the lagoon lady. Um,
Yeah.
and it's more of like a she definitely knows how to defend herself
Mhm.
because of who she grew up with. Um, but for the fact that like she does have a big heart, and I think that every quirky team needs at least one of those characters,
Yeah.
and Omega would definitely be that character.
See, my character for that was Hondo because Hondo has a lot of heart. No matter what his morality may lie in, he's gonna do the right thing at the end of the day. Um, So, and we know he's alive because like they're proof that he's alive. So he has some mini comics that he's a part of where like he's got a bounty on his head and blah 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 blah. So he's there in like the 10 ABY range, but then Galaxy's Edge is sequel trilogy time frame. So we know he kind of makes it
Yeah,
through there. So that's what I kind of leaned on for him.
yeah. Okay. What is your we are on third character?
That was my third character.
Oh, Hondo? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, mine I labeled as the droid of the group, and I could not leave him behind. Chopper.
Oh. Oh, yeah,
Like,
that's a
like
really good point.
the fact that I didn't put the zero morality character as Chopper, is something. But Chopper, he gets things done. He is able to, of course, do whatever droids do in order to get into places and all of that. But he has attitude also. So I think he's an all-in-one character for sure.
Is that kind of cheating when you have Hera as the captain of the team?
No, because I do believe that if even if Hera was the type of team captain that's like, I don't want to do this, but we have to assemble this Suicide Squad team, Chopper would be like, reporting for duty. Like, Chopper would be like, I'm in. I'm the first one signing up, baby. Like, I genuinely, I truly think Chopper would be the first to sign up. So I don't think it's cheating whatsoever. Hera
That's
didn't even ask him. He just like showed up. Like that's the big thing. The actual member got like stuck in the bathroom or something, and then Chopper's just like, oh, I'll take a spot. You know, that's that's how I feel like Chopper accidentally got into this thing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Um, the fourth member of my team is Fennec Shand. Um,
Okay.
Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett is kind of where she's at in the time frame. Bounty hunter, sniper extraordinaire. I could also see her negotiating being part of the team for like a deal for Boba Fett. in this instance. Matt was like, well, why don't you just use Boba Fett? I was like, that's cheating.
You can't use see, and that's the thing. Like, literally, Chopper is almost my only fan favorite character.
Yeah.
You know,
and Boba is kind of like too old for this vibes, but like Finnick, I feel like could
yeah,
do it.
yeah, for
So
sure.
that's my fourth team member.
My fourth team member I labeled as the one that always survives. If you've ever seen Deadpool 2, they are basically the domino, the one with the most luck. You know, there might be bombs going off and crashes and all sorts of stuff, and somehow they still survive. That's Hondo.
Yeah,
Like,
I
Hondo
can see
will
that
just
too.
find, like, I could just see the most chaotic scene happening on my scene or on my screen, and then like the cloud of smoke ending, and it's all quiet, and then Hondo just walks out like, oh man, that was a close one. Okay, let's walk out here and act like nothing happened. Like, that is totally Hondo. So
Yeah,
I think Hondo, of course, him also being a character that is on both of our teams, I think this was inevitable.
yep,
I said that Chopper was the only one that's a fan favorite. Hondo is a fan favorite, and I think more so because we also don't get much of him. So, like,
yeah.
I think we need more of Hondo.
Like I said, he's had a lot of like little comic appearances, and then they're using him in Galaxy's Edge. So there's a lot there that can be played with to kind of make work. And if he doesn't make an appearance in Ahsoka season 2 with Ezra there now, like his Jabba the Hutt, like come
Yeah.
on. So my fifth and final team member, and I had to do a lot of digging on this because I didn't really do a great job keeping up with the Bounty Hunter series. Um,
Hmm.
but it looks like this character is still alive. So that's also why I included an honorable mention because I could not confirm if this guy was alive or not. But it looks like he may be. So my fifth and final team member is Valence, who is the cyborg bounty hunter.
Oh, that's a
Um,
great choice.
from the Bounty Hunters
Comic.
series by
Yeah.
Ethan Sachs. He's also present in the Han Solo
Hmm.
Imperial Cadet, I think is the mini series.
Hmm. Yeah.
Wow, it sounds like the sky's about to fall. Sorry, that was very loud thunder.
Oh, we had a random, like, very harsh storm just like whip through
Weather is
Fort Wayne.
insane
It,
right
it
now.
was it like it literally looked like it was about to flood with as much rain that was pouring down. And
Oh
then, like,
yeah,
I feel like I blinked and then it was gone. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
that's weird. Um
Weather is strange right now.
so the last character that I have is the character that I labeled I don't even belong here character. Um Before I had to change it to a Mandoverse character because I
Didn't have to
technically
be Mandoverse, just timeline.
yes. And that's what I mean. I believe in within the timeline, my new character is definitely still alive, I would believe, unless there's new information that tells us otherwise. But before I made my change, I actually had Haja Istri from Obi-Wan Kenobi, the
Okay.
the fake Jedi. Um
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah.
think he would have been amazing to be like the quirky, like, also type of character that kind of just stumbles into this type of scenario.
Yeah.
Um, but without him, instead, I chose a new character that we've just recently met within the Star Wars universe, Lyco Strata, who was a part of Tales of the Underworld and partnered with Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
I think him making his way as like somewhat of a, you know, decently morality type of person, but of course, hanging out with Asajj, there's gonna be some gray areas there.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have like the same type of character as what Omega would be, but he's also just trying to survive.
Mhm.
And I feel like he probably got caught doing something, is, on parole, whatever. And then Hera just is like, oh, there's this new guy. I think that he would do great on this team. I've heard he can use the Force. And boom, like that's how he gets stuck on this team.
Yeah, that could be a great pick.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
That was fun. I really like
Yeah.
doing that. So I will say some of my characters that I had prior to changing it to Mandoverse timeline. Shin Hades' character was actually prior Savage, Darth Maul's
Okay.
brother, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Uh Savage Opress, I think his last name is, because he has zero morality. Like he would have been just the killer of the group. So I chose them, and then like I said, I had Borsk in Hamato's place. So I'm really glad that some of ours were very similar. Like, and that also just tells you the type of characters that are here in Star Wars that really do take homage to things like Legends and even some of the predecessing movies and TV shows that happen, prior to these characters coming on the screen. So I really do enjoy that. But yeah, guys, if you guys are interested in creating your own Suicide Squad for the Star Wars universe, we would love to hear your input on those. Again, the phone number is 830-538-4828. You can always leave a voicemail or send a text message with your Suicide Squad. And, we could talk about it on the next show. We also have the Gmail, of course, StarWarsAlliance@gmail.com. No A in wars, very important. Don't forget it. But yeah, that is it for tonight's episode. We ran literally 7 minutes longer than we actually thought. But of course, you guys can always find me at Fanboy Clay on any and all social media. We over at Ranger Alliance just recently had all three of the hosts, Joe, myself, and Jake, review the latest episode of Goji Yuger #1. That has been a really fun ride. On average, those Super Sentai shows have anywhere from 50 to 55 episodes. We are nearing the halfway mark of that new season. So we're prepared for anything and everything crazy on that show. So go enjoy that. I was super lacking in reading this past month, so I had zero update on the on my reading log. And then shamefully, Katie, you texted me earlier today reminding me that we actually had another reading planned and I hadn't even started it. So I am starting that tonight so we can prepare for that. And that is actually going to be a really fun one because I've just been super excited to getting into that series. It'll be a surprise for all you on Patreon.
Yes, we're gonna be going through a whole series, guys.
Yeah,
It's gonna be super fun. But also, don't forget, we have Sanctuary: A Bad Batch to record in 2 weeks. So
yeah, lots of reading to do very, very quickly.
You're welcome. Guys, you can find me on most social media platforms. It's at Slice of Katie. We've plugged the show stuff several times, so I won't bore you guys with that again, but you can also find it in the description box below, guys. Um, yeah, we have a Patreon recording planned for the end of the month, and then once that is done, then Clay and I will be announcing what it is because we're hoping that we can go monthly on that, with one new one a month. But I don't want to jinx anything before it happens. So,
I am
but
pretty
guys,
confident we are able to do it, so we should be good.
yeah, same here. But guys, for the rest of the month, so next week we will be talking some High Republic comics. The week after that, we will be reviewing live the Sanctuary a Bad Batch novel, and also probably talking about Comic-Con, though it looks like Comic-Con is not gonna have a lot on its
Mhm.
plate
Yeah.
this year. Just mainly it looks like talking about Trials of the Jedi and then Crystal Crown, which releases at the end of the month on the 27th, I think. Um, but so the Bad Batch novel review will be on the 24th, guys, and then the 31st we will be talking about Resistance season 2. Um, and we will be doing Crystal Crown at the beginning of August because we did not get an arc for that, guys. So we just need some time to be able to read it.
Yeah.
So that's what you can expect for the rest of the month, guys. So with that, I want to wish everyone a great day or night, whatever time of day you're listening or watching, and we will see y'all next time. May the force be with you.